Okay, what's up, everybody? This is Tom Taylor with South China Morning Post, SCMP Martial Arts, joined this afternoon by the One Championship lightweight champion, Christian Lee. Christian, last time I talked to you, I had to introduce you as the former lightweight champion. Now I get to call you the champion again. I mean, how does that feel from your end?
It feels good. A lot of hard work went into training for that last fight, and I'm glad that the hard work paid off, and I was able to get my belt back.
You certainly got it back. It was an amazing performance. Just looking back a bit, though, I mean, how frustrating was the last year for you? Not just the loss to Ok Rae-yoon itself, being quite controversial, but then having to wait for a year. I mean, how tough was the last year for you?
For me, the last year was, it wasn't too tough. Um, it was unfortunate. I was really upset about the initial decision, how the fight went, but other than that, my life was going great. I had a lot of time to spend with my wife and my daughter, and I was still in the gym training hard every day. So, I knew that I had lost the title. I felt like I didn't lose the fight, but that didn't stop me from training. That didn't change my mindset on how I approached my training. And so I just put my head down, kept working, and I knew that the result was going to be different once we faced in the circle again.
It was an amazing performance, and you were just so aggressive in the fight. And I know that was a part of that was the game plan, but to me, I was kind of wondering, like, is part of that frustration too? Because you just put it on him like right away and did not let him breathe. Was that all game plan, or was there a little bit of kind of like, almost just kind of eagerness to get in there and settle this with him?
Definitely, it felt good to go in there and get the job done quickly. I was looking forward to letting my hands go and to hitting him, of course. But there was no animosity. Really like coming forward right out of the gates, controlling center. That was part of my strategy,
Mhm.
my approach to the fight. I knew that Oak was going to be spending his entire training camp just preparing on defending my takedown. He thought that I was going to go in with the same strategy as the last fight, and so I felt like I was able to really catch him off guard by going in there, commanding center, and striking right away.
Yeah, it was an amazing performance. I think it surprised a lot of people. Like you just landed so many strikes in such a short period. You were like a chainsaw. It was unbelievable. And on the flip side, I saw that you said he didn't hit you at all. I mean, is that exaggerating, or did he really not hit you in there?
Um, I think he maybe landed a couple shots, but definitely no shots that rocked me or shots that were anywhere close to the kind of shots that I landed. But it's a fight. I'm prepared to get hit as well. But thankfully my training, my head movement was there, my defense was there, and I was able to get the better of all our exchanges.
Hmm. A lot of ways to win an MMA fight, of course, but that one was just so dominant. I mean, how does it feel, just kind of given the context of that rematch, to have such a decisive win after the competitive first fight?
It feels good to get that kind of win in our rematch because the first match, you know, it went 5 rounds. It went to a decision. I feel like I won. He felt like he won the fight, and ultimately it went his way. So I knew going into this fight there was no way I was going to leave it to the judges. I think it would be foolish for me to try to go in there and win over the judges when I did everything it took to win over the fight, and I didn't get my way last time. So I knew going into this match, the only way I was going to win was a finish. I just didn't know which round or how.
Hmm. Well said, man. I feel like this maybe goes without saying, and you may have even addressed it already in your first post fight interview. But a rematch, I know you guys are 1-1 at this point, but not really interested in that at the moment. You're kind of ready to wait on that.
Yeah, for me, I don't feel that a rematch is necessary. Even though technically we're 1-1. If
Hmm.
you go back and you watch the first fight, absolutely, I believe that I won the fight, and then this round I just was able to really put a stamp on it and show that I was a better fighter by finishing him. So, in my opinion, there's no need for a third fight.
Hmm. Would you feel the idea of a trilogy fight down the road, maybe if you can put together a nice win streak?
Yeah, absolutely. If he goes and clears out the lightweight division, then that would earn himself another title shot. But as of right now, definitely no immediate rematch.
Hmm. Cool. Well, assuming he's not next, I mean, when you look out over your kingdom, I mean, who's the next guy? Who do you think is the next challenger for you?
Right now, other than the guy sitting at number 5. If we look at the lightweight rankings, Segid, he's the only guy I haven't fought yet. But he's only got one fight in one championship so far. He has a good record outside of one, but I'd like to see him put together a few more wins, especially guys in the rankings in the top 5 before he gets a title shot. So for now, I'm going to be just keeping a close eye on the lightweight division, seeing how that shakes itself out, and then I'm looking forward to keeping my options open. I would love to go up to welterweight and fight Kiamrian Abbasov for his title. That's definitely something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I'll be training for that. I'll be preparing, and hopefully we can get that fight lined up.
Very cool. Just speaking of Sagid, Habib's protege. Well, we're on the topic. You mentioned he's just had the one fight and one championship, but he is ranked number 5, and they just announced recently that he's fighting Zhang Li Pang at one of these upcoming cards. I can't remember which one it landed on, but Zhang Li Pang is a very experienced guy, not ranked, but a solid opponent, I would say. Do you feel like if he wins that, like, is there a world where you'd entertain that title fight, or does he still need to do more, you think?
I think that if he wins that fight, that would be great. It'll put him, give him 2 wins and 1 championship. But, really, winning his first fight, he got put at number 5 because of course of his record. He beat a good opponent,
Mhm.
and also he's coming from a good team. But in my opinion, I think that it would be best to just fight somebody in the rankings, fight somebody in the top 5 before you get a shot. I mean, um, there's a reason there's a rankings, and I feel like the 4 guys ahead of him in the rankings would all be a very tough fight and a good test for him. So I do think that he's most likely going to be the next person I'm defending my belt against, but I'd like to see him fight
Mhm.
somebody in the rankings before he gets that shot.
Another guy people talk about as a potential challenger for you is Daggy, who you've of course already beaten, but he's accomplished some good things since then. Maybe a Segid versus Segid fight to determine the next challenger for you. Is that something you can see happening?
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening, and I think that would make for a great fight. Definitely determine the number 1 contender.
So it sounds like you're keen to kind of sit tight for a little while and let these guys establish a bit clearer of a pecking order. And so does that mean the intention for you ideally would to go up to welterweight next?
Um, that's the plan.
Have you spoken to One Championship about that? Any interest on their end?
Yeah, we've been in talks, and I think I just want to see what Kiamrian Abbasov has to say. I know he just won up his last fight to try to get the light heavyweight belt, but now, or is it the middleweight belt?
Mhm.
But now he's got to defend his welterweight title. So I don't really see anyone in the welterweight division who's next in line for a title shot. So if
Mhm.
he's got to stay busy, then I'd be more than happy to fill that slot.
Yeah, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world to me, not just because of what you've accomplished in the lightweight division, but also because there's just not really anyone else for him at the moment, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Well, actually, one guy that we should talk about is Roberto Soldic, who recently signed with One Championship, and not totally clear what weight class he's going to be fighting in because he's fought at welterweight and middleweight outside one. But of course, the divisions are different in one. And then he also mentioned that he'd be interested in fighting Eddie Alvarez, which kind of implies to me that he'd be down to fight at lightweight as well. So having said all that, this guy seems ready to drift between multiple divisions, including the ones you fight in. Is he on your radar?
Absolutely. I've seen him fight. He's another dangerous contender out there, and I think that he's going to be a tough fight for anybody. If you go between the lightweight, welterweight, up to middleweight, I think he's going to be a tough fight for anybody. He's
Mhm.
definitely got talent, and he's a great fighter. And he hasn't fought in one yet, but I'll definitely keep my eyes out for when he makes his debut.
A lot of hype behind him, obviously. But when you mentioned you've seen him fight, when you've watched him, you see him as a guy that you can beat. You don't see anything that really concerns you.
No, I believe in my skill set. I think he's another tough competitor and a finisher like myself. And I think it would make for a great fight one day. So I could definitely see ourselves lining up in the
hmm
future.
Very cool. I mentioned Eddie Alvarez's name a moment ago. I feel like I ask you about Eddie every time we talk. I have to, I guess it's part of the job. But we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. Your opinion is still kind of the same that that's a fight you're open to, provided that he can, get some wins going.
Yeah, Eddie's a fight I would definitely love to take. I haven't seen him fight. His last fight was against Oak. But I would definitely like to make that match happen before he hangs his gloves up. I think he's amazing competitor. He's accomplished so much in his MMA career, and if he wants to get that shot, I would love to give it to him. Just
Mhm.
uh, haven't really heard much about him coming back into the circle again. So we'll see what his plans are, but I'd definitely be open to that fight.
Right, I was gonna ask you if you'd heard anything, right? I'm asking everyone this. Everyone wants to know what is Eddie Alvarez doing, but it seems like I guess you've got no more information than we do at this point, right?
No, no, haven't heard about him.
Okay, cool. Well, when you survey the landscape at lightweight, regardless of who's next for you, who do you see as the toughest challenger for your title reign?
I think right now it's going to come down um, to either Daggy or Segid. I think right now they're the two toughest guys in the division. I fought Daggy already once before. Segid I haven't fought yet, but I see them as the top two contenders that are going to work their way up to the top. So most likely going to be one of them.
Hmm. And then back to the welterweight division, assuming that's next for you. I mean, how do you feel like you match up with Cameron Abbasov? He's a tough guy, obviously. What do you think of him?
I think he's very skilled, um, but I think that my style lines up well for his style. I think that I'm faster. I think that um, I think that I'm a better striker. I think that I'm a better grappler, and I would love to test myself against the champion one division up. For
Mhm.
me, I'm always open to new challenges, and I think that Kiamrian Abbasov would absolutely be the toughest fight in my career, and I would love to test myself that way.
Very cool. And just in terms of like legacy, what would that mean for you to win titles in two weight classes? Obviously, your sister is going to attempt to do that very soon. What would it mean for you to pull that off?
Um, for me, it would just be another one of my goals ticked off. When I started this fight game, my goal was to be a world champion. Immediately, my next goal is to be a two-weight world champion. So, I got many goals set out in this sport, and definitely getting two divisions would be one of them.
Very cool. All right. Well, let's start wrapping this up here. Just in terms of the rest of the year, do you intend to fight again this year, or are you kind of just hanging back and chilling for the rest of the year? What's the plan for the rest of 2022?
I want to stay active. Thankfully, I have no injuries coming off of my last fight, so um, I'm gonna be back in the gym. I'm gonna be training, waiting for a fight, and I think I'll be back in there again before the end of the year.
Hmm. So you think there's a world possibly where you'll be fighting for the welterweight title before this year's out?
If everything goes according to plan, I would like to make that happen. Definitely by the end of the year, fighting for the welterweight title.
Well, as a fan, that sounds very exciting. Do you have a prediction for a potential fight with Abasov?
I think a fight with Abasov is it's gonna be a war. Um, but I think I can get it done. I think that we'll see where it goes. I'm gonna have to break down his fight footage and see where his openings are. But absolutely, I see myself getting my hand raised against him.
Cool, man. Well, let's wrap it up with this. The lightweight title is yours again. You know what it feels like to lose it now. I mean, after this whole debacle with Ok Rae-yoon, these two fights, I mean, how determined are you to make sure this thing doesn't slip through your fingers again?
I'm you know I'm gonna be training harder than ever every fight, making sure that um, no matter who it is coming for the title, I'm gonna be in the best shape of my life. I'm gonna be the most prepared I've ever been, and I don't plan on letting the belt go anywhere.